Yeah, I mean, we've just had a period where, people will put up with anything because it'll soon be Christmas. Have you heard that saying? Things are going wrong, but you say, well, it'll soon be Christmas. This was a saying many years ago. I don't know if they still use that. Do they? They still use that saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Because, life's meant to be enjoyed. That's what we're all working for. That's what we're all trying so hard. We're all trying to, find some peace of mind, some happiness, and that's what we can have regularly, ongoing. Actually, talking about Christmas, it was the 27th of December. So what's unusual about the 27th of December? Nothing really. But I thought it were a good time because I was going to go home and visit my brother and my mother. My mother's for 90, and I thought I'll not go on Christmas Day because we have different lifestyles than my mother does, and so I thought I'll not spoil Christmas for them. Let them have their lifestyle. I'll go after Christmas. I'll not go on Boxing Day because that's also a day when everybody starts to get a little bit more into the sports side of it, and I thought I'll go the day after on the 27th. When I used to celebrate Christmas many years ago, that was the day when it's over. You remember those days? It was like 2-day celebration, maybe 3 at the most, 4 because you used to do Christmas Eve as well. But now it's like a full week at least, isn't it? So when I went home, the television was still on. There was still all the golden oldies there. And so I thought, well, what can I do in life? When in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do. So I started watching. I'll tell you what was on. It was James. What was it? James Bond. It was a documentary on, not on how it all actually came together. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, you didn't. So, so I only intended watching it for like 10 minutes, and I was talking to my brother and we were watching this, and then I thought it's quite interesting. And what happened is, I probably missed the first 10 minutes or something, but they were talking about the war, the Second World War, and I suppose shall I use names in this, or yeah, I might as well make it like that. And the person who wrote these books, does anybody remember his name?
Fleming.
Fleming, Ian Fleming. Yeah, they were saying that in the Second World War he was a spy. Well, he was in the espionage anyway. I don't know whether they were actually going behind enemy lines. And he was, so he had quite a thrilling life, because when you're a spy, you don't know whether you're going to live from the next day to the next. And he said to one of his friends, he says, if I ever get out of this war alive, he said, I'm going to write a book. And so actually he was one of the few who did. He got out alive. Most people in the war, not many people survived wars. And so after the war, he was talking about his life in how he worked. But I missed most of that, and I came in at this point, and his wife was speaking, said actually as soon as the war was over, he lost himself. You know what I mean by lost himself? He didn't know what to do. He had such a adventurous lifestyle, and he obviously enjoyed it. And now it's all over. How can you top that? Back to civil life, an office job, 9 while 5, and that wasn't him. So, and she said for years he didn't know what to do. He was lost in his inner thoughts, and then all of a sudden he started thinking about this book he said he would write, and he started writing he started to write about his activities in the war. And then he expanded on that. And his wife said that actually what he expanded to is that he wanted to experience, or he wanted to write about a person who he couldn't be. Has anybody had that feel? You know, we all want to be like, we see all these film stars, football, great footballers, and you know, they're idols because, you know, they're actually something special, that they've made it in this world. And he was thinking that, you know, that lifestyle I had in the Second World War, it wasn't actually so satisfying. And so he wanted to write a thrill, at least one thriller, whereby he could explain through this person, and actually eventually he found it in a book, he found the names James Bond, and he superimposed that onto his novel. And he wanted to live through his writing, what he wanted to. So what you see is James Bond doing, that's what he wanted. And actually, what happens at these films? Everybody's like, they're engrossed, it's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that taste, which is something unusual. And and everybody who took a part in this, building this film, then he got some producers interested. One of them, he sold all his stock. He hadn't got a penny left. He couldn't even afford to produce a film because he bought the rights to it. And then, but he was so taken by it. Then he got a friend, and he started to, and they were both captivated by this story. And you know, it was so exciting to watch this documentary. I've never seen a documentary like it. The thing I'm trying to say is that all the way through, everybody who got involved, they wanted to live their dream. You know what I mean? And so this is what people want to do in life, isn't it? They want to live in a, people say, utopian world. Is that right? But actually, that's our real nature. Our real nature is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And therefore, when we experience things in this world, they're not actually satisfying because they're temporary. Is anything that lasts us? It doesn't last. They're full of, well, not full of ignorance, but we don't know much, do we, really? We don't even know what's going up in front of us. There's so many millions of living entities between us, but you can't even see them. So what's our knowledge? And it's asat and what's the last one? Chit, knowledge. It's, you know, our real nature is to be fully cognizant. But what do we really understand? So sat means eternal, full of knowledge, and full of happiness. That's the one. So that's what we're searching for. What's that verse? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajja Kavanai Saranadi Sudachati Karya Udai. This is Bengali. It's originally from Sanskrit. It's saying pure love, pure happiness is situated in the heart. It's not something we have to obtain or buy. It's there. It says, so by the proper mode of living, we can actually ignite that seed of devotion within the heart, that happiness. And so this is what we have these meetings for, to start to, you know, give some direction how we can do that and how we can follow it up and make it a lifetime's endeavour. Actually, one more thing about these films is that there was there were about 5 different actors, different people who took the parts. I didn't know about this until, you know, I stopped watching the telly a long time ago. I just see it now and again, so I lost track. But there's about 4 or 5 different actors who took that part, weren't there? And who was the best one? Come on, who was the best one? Don't be shy.
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery. Any advances on Sean Connery?
I'm on the fence.
You say.
I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says, even on the film, they're saying he was the best one. Whether he was or not, but why was he the best one? Oh, you've got to work for this. Why was he the best one?
His accent.
His accent, Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Because of the eyebrow.
That part of it, yeah.
I always thought he was like the coolest one.
Coolest.
He was the person that I wanted to be more than the other ones were like a bit average, like an average guy in the street.
Yeah.
But he was the one that you thought, wow, he was really
This is
special guy.
exactly what I was talking about. You hit the nail on the head. Is that when it showed you him even off the screen, and he was enjoying life. There were thousands of people waiting to see him at this function, and he was just laughing his head off. And he was like really getting into the crowd, and he was just like full of happiness, full of joy in what he was doing. Like in the films, he'd be in a situation where nobody can survive in that situation. All of a sudden, he'd turn it around, and on his way, he'd pick up this beautiful woman, you know what I mean? And then he'd shoot a couple of bandits on his way out, and then crack a joke, and everybody went in ecstasy. Oh, this is life, that's what we all want to do, we want to enjoy. And why? Because I say, it's explained that there's the mundane world, this is called the mundane world, the material world, and there's the spiritual world. This mundane world is a reflection of the spiritual world. And so, although the activities are the same, they don't have the same effect. The spiritual world is called the transcendental world. It means there's no inhibition. Has anybody noticed when we try to do anything in this world, does it come easy?
No.
Nothing comes easy. It's like you have to work like anything to achieve the smallest thing. And we're in control of anything. We may think we're in control, and all of a sudden the lights go on red. We've got no option. We control it, and we don't like it. Nobody likes it. And so what everybody's seen when they saw this person, they were seeing the epitome of somebody who's broke free from the material world. He's not conditioned by death. He can do what he wants, when he wants, and he's enjoying life. Does that remind you of anybody? So I say this is described in the Vedic scriptures that in the spiritual world everybody's like that. But in particularly, the Supreme Person is always transcendental, that's Krishna. So whether we like it or not, everybody's looking for that same reciprocation. They're looking for that person. Everybody wants a hero, yeah? Somebody they can actually look up to. Not everybody will admit that, but it's really what we're looking for. And so, we're going through, we're creating, different games, and we're starting to expand the field of enjoyment. It's becoming electronic now, and it's unlimitedly expanding. Every year, it's so much more than what it was last year. But what's the, is it actually satisfying people? I mean, you can tell me you probably mix with the general mass of people more than what I do, maybe in your job or at work, when you're shopping or when you meet the next door neighbours. What do you think? No?
I think probably less now than ever.
So what's wrong?
People are looking outside themselves for something that's actually really inside.
Yeah, that's part of it. They're looking to enjoy things separately. And yeah, I mean, I'm just going off a little bit of a tangent now. I thought it'd be nice to we've just had the Christmas festival. I was going to talk about one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, but also, what's another thing that everybody's looking for? What other type of film is very attractive to people? So we just established from this that everybody's looking for a hero. Would anybody, I mean, I'm not saying everybody should agree with that. Would everybody think there may be some truth in that? Yeah? So our idol, And so that's Krishna. In the spiritual world, You know, when it comes to the material world, he performs exactly the same pastimes, more or less, as James Bond. And so when we read the Krishna book, it's like, it's there. What's another thing about the Krishna book? What kind of entertainment in this material world is similar?
Relationship, meaningful relationship.
Meaningful relationships. Can you elaborate on that?
Like love, basically, companionship.
Companionship.
I was thinking of Bridget Jones' Diaries.
Oh,
Bridget Jones.
Bridget Jones.
Yeah, she's the one searching for love. So James Bond we're looking at him as a hero. Bridget Jones is the maiden in distress, looking for a shining knight to come and save her.
Okay. I was thinking about, has anybody heard of Walt Disney? You know, Walt Disney is world famous. Even in Siberia they know about Walt Disney. You know what I mean? Nobody goes there hardly. So why? We see Walt Disney and it's like, come on, it's for kids. But you know, when you go to a cinema, when Walt Disney's on, the biggest part of them are grown-ups watching it, you know, they bring the kids along because, and so, you know, everybody's looking at the same thing. It's something out of this world, isn't it? It's not conditioned by the material things that we have to put up with. It's taking us out of this world. And any other examples other than Walt Disney?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, same again. You know, in Star Wars, they actually get, do you know where they're getting these films from? They're getting them from the Vedas. What they call the big black guy is dead now. German element.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Vader. They're getting it from the Vedas. And they do, you know, have you seen them? Some of what they call these knights?
Jedi.
The Jedi Knights will sit down and start meditating, won't they? Where are they getting that from? The Vedas. So people are actually attracted to the Vedas. All the attractive things are in the Vedas. This is Bhagavad Gita is part of the Veda. It's just that we've become so distant from reading these things, and you know, we're trying to make up by. But you know, all this subject matter is coming from these sources. The really interesting subject matter comes from the Vedas. Any others? Harry Potter? No. Eh?
I saw someone compare Lord of the Rings to Vedic.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Recently. It's striking, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, since I've been practicing, I don't see the television ads at all. I don't see many films, but I see them occasionally, and just see every time it reminds me of something in the Vedas. There's even Indra in one of the films. Has anybody heard of Indra? Indra is the king of heaven. I think in the Vedic, in the Scandinavian folklore, they call him Thor. Have you heard of Thor? The one with the hammer. You know, you thunder. So this is Indra. Anyway, we'll go on to the Bhagavad Gita, shall we? Is there any questions on this about James Bond and yeah, we have to enjoy devotional service. We have to enjoy devotional service. It's for enjoying. It's not a tapasya actually. It's just that we've become so conditioned to thinking and doing things in a certain way that there's pain in change, that's all. What do we have to give up? Hardly anything. We gain so much. You know, everybody's working for a goal. Is anybody not working for a goal in here? If anybody's working for nothing, you know, anybody who starts doing something, they say, "What are you doing that for?" They say, "I don't know." You know, they think, well, this person's not, a full shilling. So, you know, in devotional life also, in Bhagavad Gita, there's one verse here. 266. What's this? What's the formula for happiness, or one of the formulas?
think gratitude would be in that.
Gratitude, yeah.
I think it's practice the present moment. Practicing the present moment.
Being the
Fine.
present.
Yes, being in the present, yes.
Okay.
Service. Service to others.
Service to others.
Selflessness.
Yeah, these are all good answers. There's something more simple actually, these are part of it. There's, in the Bhagavad Gita it says, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, and without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So in the purport it explains this nicely. It says, peace in society and individually is for want of an ultimate goal. Everybody's trying, everybody's working their life so that they can be ultimately happy. People, businessmen, they build up their fortunes and they build them up and they build them up, and eventually they've bought everything. They don't know what to do. They've got so much money, there's nothing left to buy. There's people who are that rich. And so they haven't found that ultimate goal. And if we have a temporary goal, we'll find temporary happiness. Yeah? But we'll work hard if we've got, I know what I want to achieve. We'll work hard, and that keeps us peaceful relatively. Yeah? It keeps us focused. But then when we get that goal, if it doesn't satisfy, then we'll focus on another goal. So, even the governments of the different countries, they understand this particular point, that we have to keep the people occupied. Yeah? So what do? What do they do to keep the people occupied? Recently, they extended the opening hours of the pubs because there weren't so many jobs, so they opened the pubs for longer to keep people subdued. Because when we have the devil's, what is it? The idle mind is a devil's workshop, and yes, so everybody's looking for a goal which will satisfy them completely, and that's also Krishna. So we're going to read from verse 14 of the second chapter. Matra spaushasta kaunteya shitoshna shuka dukkha daha agamapayeno nityas tamsti tikshasva bharat. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception or skyan of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Purport. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of March, January and February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. So we have to just I'll qualify that. Everybody might think, that's a big deal. Take a bath in January, take a bath in July, no problem, is it? Is it? But here, he's talking about the Vedic system where there was no central heating. At that time, and still in India, people, it's like it gets down to nearly zero. People get up and they'll take a cold shower. So that's extremely difficult to do, but they'll do it because that's part of the religious process to cleanliness. And it says that in India also there's another extreme, and in the middle of the summer it's like 40 sometimes at 40 plus degrees, and then a woman has to go in the kitchen, and the fire's on in the kitchen. So what is it in the kitchen? And cook, but they don't hesitate to do it. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the month of May and June. That is part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya. Maya means illusion. The two different names of address given by Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relation from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharat signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides he is supposed to have a great heritage, and the great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore he cannot avoid fighting. So I thought I'd choose this verse because this is really the beginning of achievement in anything in life. If we want to achieve something material, we have to tolerate so many inconveniences. So it's non different than in spiritual life. We're in the same world. And so the same dynamics are there. Like we want to achieve something materially, we may, like the right Margaret Thatcher, she would sleep only 4 hours. I mean, that takes only 4 hours continuously. And she was fixed in because she wanted to achieve so much. She was running the country with her cabinet. And therefore she wanted to do it nicely, so she took that austerity. And when they're running for these elections, what do? They go on these, for a few months before the election, they're going around everywhere, and they're trying to get to as many places as possible, and they're sleeping very little. They're worn out by the end of it. So everything takes some endeavour. So spiritual life is the same, and that it's like this, that whether we look for adversity or not, it'll come. Does everybody believe that? Yeah? Why? Why will it come? I know some of you will be able to answer straight away, but why does adversity come?
It's the way things are here, man. That's the nature of the world that we live in.
Yeah, but what makes it like that?
Natural process when the universe is trying to purify everything. It is just happening to every one of us, but sometimes we're doing more worse than it is allowed to purify. It is happening to all of us.
Yeah, I mean,
Because we're a bad fit. We don't really belong here.
yes,
Death is inevitable. Death. If we don't encounter any sort of adversity, we will one day encounter death,
yeah.
and death is an adversity. So there's an inevitability that we will end up death, or death of something in our lives, death of a partner, death of a.
That's a final adversity. Yeah. And there's intermediate ones as well on the way. It's not the final one actually, but it's a big one. I think everybody will agree with that. Everybody's going to get so much happiness and distress in this world, do you know that? It's already predestined. And so, you know, sometimes we feel happy and I think, why do I feel so happy? You know. Has anybody felt like that sometimes? Sometimes you feel happy and think, what's going on? I shouldn't feel like this. And then sometimes we'll be like, you know, we'll feel like really under the weather for no reason. Oh, just 5 minutes ago, we were okay. It's coming. This is called karma. Karma works on us grossly, it works on us subtly. So there was one great devotee of Krishna, they called him Prahlad Maharaj. And he said he was at school with his friends and the teachers had gone out, so he was starting to preach to them about Krishna consciousness, about spiritual life. He said, my dear friends, he says, the happiness perceived with relation to these senses in this world can be automatically obtained in due course of time, without endeavour. Just as without endeavour we also receive distress. He says, so one has to tolerate. You know, and what are people doing? They're doing exactly the opposite. We're working and working and working to get what we're going to get anyway. That working changes what we're going to get in the future, but for the present, it's not going to really make us that much happier. You know, it's like just a mental exercise. It's not really fulfilling us. And so, on that platform, if we can understand that we've got plenty of time. Has everybody got plenty of time? What time is it? Because that's the thing what's driving people in this world. What is it? Time. Time's limited, isn't it? You know, lifetime's limited. We have to get everything in there before it's too late. And this is what's driving everybody. But actually, we're going to get so much happiness and so much distress, so we can relax, and we can actually concentrate on, you know, what is our position in this world? Why are we here? Where are we going? What's taking us there? How can we change that destination? Like that. So this is the real. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that we, you know, if we can see that everything that happens to us is a result of maybe something that we've done in the past, and the person who's actually causing the problem, he's just actually delivering our karma. Like the postman. When the postman comes to the door, he comes to the door, he's here again. You know what I mean? Yesterday he brought a really bad letter. If he brings another one, I'm really going to get on his case. And he brings another bad letter, so you're going to set about the postman. Is that really intelligent? So that's what we do in this world. When somebody gives us a hard time, we don't realise that he's just an instrument for our karma. And so this is called a platform of sanity. But we may not be able to function on that platform. So there's one, what's the synonym of, is everybody following this okay? Is it okay? It's Sunday afternoon, isn't it? Everybody winds down for Sunday afternoon. What's the synonym for tolerance?
Acceptance.
Forbearance?
Forbearance, yeah, forbearance. Yeah, forbearance.
Some say forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Well,
Who said forgiveness?
For the Christians.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the next stage, isn't it? You tolerate. So if you tolerate somebody, then the next thing is you forgive them, won't you? You're not actually letting it affect you. So I'll read something about. And the reason I'm going to read this is because these are people who may not know about the law of karma. That it's not a matter of tolerating. These things are going to come anyway. There's nothing to forgive. there's nothing to forgive, because what's happening is happening due to the karma and the ongoing activity of time. In due course of time, everything unfolds. So, you know, it's explained in this world that we shouldn't get entangled. Don't make it worse. Don't react to bad situations. Just accept what's coming and get on with your spiritual life. So there's nothing to forgive. But it's difficult to think on that platform, would you say?
Mm.
So we have to have some what they call them? Coping strategies, is it? Coping strategies, and these are some strategies. And I'd just like to explain to you what these are. Oh, it's called Forgiveness Wisdom. We'll read the material ones, then after we'll read the transcendental ones, yeah? Okay. Forgiveness. Oh, we know this one. This is an English one, but it originally comes from the Vedas. Everybody will know this one. Deal with the faults of others as gently as you would with your own. Do not do unto others that would cause pain if done unto you. So these are some things that we already know. Graciousness is shown by what you don't say, even if what you could say would be true. Forgiveness releases the past. Yeah, I understand that. Does it release the past? You know, when we don't forgive, when we've got some, what they call it, what the sorts we are. What's that word? Eh? Resentment. When we have some resentment in the heart due to something that's happened, then we're tied to the past, aren't we? We keep going back on it, and it eats us away. You know, and also our ability to do things starts to diminish. It takes away our energy. So even practically speaking, it's good to actually let it go. So these things may help us to see from that platform. Forget the past that sleeps, nor the future dream at all, but live with times which are with thee in progress, ye shall call. Forgiveness is an act of the imagination. It dares you to imagine a better future, one that is based on the blessed possibility that your hurt will not be the final word on the matter. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it enlarges the future. Though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. What does that mean?
Rewrite the book.
Eh?
You can change the chapters in the book.
Yeah, we've already started, but we can change the result, isn't it? We can change the result. We can just carry on being resentful and, you know, suffer, or we can let it go. Forgiveness is not always reasonable. Forgiveness is giving up the resentment to which you are entitled and offering to the person the hurt your friendlier attitudes to which they are not entitled. You know, it's like this. It says, why are we talking about this? Eh? Does anybody get a clue? Because if you remember, we're talking about the first stage to do anything is to tolerate. And to, you know, let bygones be bygones and get on with a new life. That's what we're talking about. And we have to keep revisit this, because we're so conditioned to actually being resentful to things that happened. And so we have to keep remembering this point. Tolerate. This is one of the main qualities of somebody who wants to go forward in transcendental life. So we're going through this so that, you know, when we start to do that, then we can focus on what we're supposed to be focusing on. This is the point. Otherwise our energy is taken away. God designs an enemy to keep us on our toes and on our knees. Loving an enemy defies natural explanation. To attempt to do so brings us to the supernatural realm. The hardest things, the ones that push you up against your limits, are the very things you need to address to make a quantum leap into a fresh inner and outer life. Okay, I think we get the message. Is there anything anyway? Yeah, so this is true for whether we're practicing spiritual life or we're practicing anything. We have to, if we want to function nicely and be at ease with ourselves, wholesome, happy, then we have to, treat anything that happens to us in this world as, not that important at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, what will happen? Everything we see now will be gone. Every relationship we have now will be gone. Every happy time will be gone. Every miserable time will be gone. Nothing maintains. George Harrison wrote a record many years ago. They call it? All Things Must Pass. That was the name of the album. There's nothing going to maintain, and so why should we hang on to things? So this is a very important quality in spiritual life. And in this particular case, Krishna is speaking to his disciple Arjuna. Arjuna wants to avoid something difficult. And Krishna is saying, no, you have to do your duty. In life we have as duties to do. Happiness and distress will come. The spiritual life runs on two. The spiritual life requires how many rails? How many rails does spiritual life require? Not a trick question.
Two.
What's the two then?
Well, we've got this parallelism in life. We live on this world, and we don't live in this world. What's in this world is not that really important to us as a spiritual being. So we're on a parallel in this world.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. There's two lines. One is your spiritual life. One is your material life. We have to maintain ourselves in this world. We need basics. And so we have to work for those, and we have to relate in this world, just so that we can actually exist. That's the climate of living nowadays. But most people are running on one rail. It's not very easy, is it? One rail. So, the other rail is our spiritual life. Simultaneously as we practice our material life, and we get material acquisitions, we have family, this, so many things. But this is all for a purpose. It's to actually keep us in, fulfill our immediate desires. We can't give them up straight. We have to fulfill our desires. Is that right? It's difficult not to. So there's facility in transcendental life to fulfill your material desires and at the same time practice our spiritual life. Even in material life they do that. If somebody wants to get a higher post, he'll work, sleep a little bit less maybe, cut some corners, and he'll make time to study. Yeah? Because he wants to get, so his spiritual life's like that.